Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Intro to Marathon Lead Gen and Conversion with your MAPS coach, Richard Schulman. Please note that this webinar is being recorded. If you have attended or if you know someone that you would like to share the link with, please feel free to share this recording. It will be sent out to you today after the webinar. Any questions, you can type them into the questions box for Richard. We do value group participation, so please type your questions into the box and we will address them near the end of the call. Any questions about the program, you can always email fasttrack@kw.com. That's FASTTRACK@kw.com. And that's all for me, so Richard, you can take it away.
Hey, thanks a lot, Paige, and good morning or good afternoon to everyone. I'm Richard Schulman. I'm a MAPS coach here in Los Angeles, California, and I'm really excited to have you guys all on. We had a lot of people joining us, and that really excites me because I've had a great experience at KW through coaching and training, and I love to share that gift with everyone else. So let's jump right in. This is about a 30-minute promotional webinar. What we want to do today is give you a lot of background on the class, a lot of good...
Hi, sweetie.
To enable audio control, for your audio pin followed by the pound or hash sign. If you do not have a pin.
Hey, Paige.
Yes.
All right. So, I think we're getting the background. Could you mute the other audio?
Yes. Sorry about that.
Thanks. No problem. So what I was sharing with everyone is that I've had a really great experience at KW in coaching and training. I consider myself a training junkie, and it's a real honor and privilege for me to share that with all of you guys. So I've had a big epiphany. This is my 6th time teaching this class through, and I teach a lot of the same principles live. I'll be up in Portland teaching it on Thursday, and I teach it to my own sales team here in LA all the time. And what I want to teach you guys to do through this class is how to execute. Real estate is a very simple business, and if we execute the basics perfectly, we're going to do really well. So my team has sold $87 million this year with $21 million pending. So that'll put us at $110 million closed through November. And this morning we worked on class 1 of marathon lead generation and conversion. All we did was work on our introductory scripting this morning. So we're committed to achieving massive success through the basics. So let me run you through this. What you'll find different in this promotional webinar, different than others, is that I'm going to give you really good actionable information, and I know that you'll like it, and when you like it, I'd love to have you sign up. At the end of the call, we're going to have some promos and giveaways for people who sign up today. So let's jump right in. There we go. I'm 11 years at KW. I came over from a different major company that had no training. I had no idea what training was. I didn't think that people from Texas knew how to tell me how to sell real estate in Los Angeles. I was very wrong, long story short. Once I jumped into training, I'm bold. I have a MAPS coach. I'm going to my 9th family reunion in Anaheim this February, mega camp. I'll be in Austin all next week at 3 different classes. Once I jumped into training, everything changed for me. So you see there, we're actually nearing it on 1,200 homes sold for about $600 million as a team. 300 million of those sales happened in the last 3 years as I've doubled down and tripled down on coaching. So I run a 17-person team here. Everything that you see here is the same that we teach the team. Paige, can you check on the audio? I had an audio concern.
Sounds good to me. I think it was probably me cutting in.
Okay, perfect.
A minute ago.
Thanks. All right, so here's some other things that I do, because one of the great things I've learned through coaching and training at KW is to diversify my income. So I own rental properties. I own part of a couple of market centers. Obviously, I'm a MAPS coach. I have a construction business, and I have a large profit share. All of those things that I've mentioned there all start with lead generation and conversion. So I want you guys to understand this is not just a class about how to sell more real estate, although of course that's what it is. It's also a class of how can I profit share better? How can I develop that profit share tree? How can I find investment opportunities in real estate, in market centers? How can I develop other businesses? All businesses require lead generation and conversion. So in this class, we're going to go through in 5 weeks, how do you find people to talk to and how do you convert them to an appointment? So we cover the first half of the world of sales, is finding people and converting them to an appointment. Very simple, and if we execute it perfectly, as Gary and Jay say, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary. And what I also really want you to understand is that all of these things stop without lead generation and conversion. That all these things that I have, the minute I stop getting into the office every morning and making my calls and doing my purposeful follow-up and executing on my simple things of converting into appointments, all of those things can go away very quickly. So we're going to develop incredibly good systems of how to meet people, how to convert them, and how to purposely follow up with them over time to convert them into sales and multiple sales and referrals. So one of the big things that we do is that we're going to do this through improving our efficiency. And there's a lot of ways we're going to improve our efficiency. We're going to use the exact same systems that my team uses, using different ways of accountability and different systems that we'll have written down that will help us to create good habits and patterns. The first challenge I want to give you guys is the calling per hour challenge. So this class, Marathon Lead Generation, actually started as a live class. It'd be like a 3-hour class with an hour pep talk, just like one of these, and then 2 hours of calling. And what we realized is that people were really poor at making calls per hour. Now, a lot of you are on auto dialers, and we have an entire 1 hour of the 5 hours is on auto dialer training. So we're going to teach you how to use the auto dialer at an incredibly high level. But what I want to teach you to do first is how to make calls at a higher level. And this may seem very basic to you, but let me work through this way. After this call, when you can, it's Monday, you got plenty of time this week before we start on Friday, sit down for an hour to make calls. If you're making fewer than 20 calls an hour, you're not operating at full capacity. And the difference is that if we can change, your efficiency a little bit, it's going to be multiplied over the entire year of you calling. So if you can make 2 more calls per hour, that's great. I'm going to show you on average we get people up about 5 calls an hour increase. And after we teach you how to increase the outbound number of dials you're making, we're going to also help you increase the number of appointments. So nothing that I do is going to ask you to work harder. We just want to work smarter, right? So we're going to cover today some actionable items. We have some sign up, and like I mentioned, we're going to have some bonuses at the end if you sign up today. I've got some really good bonuses for you guys. So how are we going to make 25 calls in 1 hour? So usually when people come in, they're hitting about 14 to 16 calls an hour, and after training, we get up to 20 to 25 calls per hour. It's totally possible to do. It's just about being focused and prepared. So the number one thing that you should do if you want to hit this challenge is you want to make sure that you're focused on nothing else but calling. Number one problem people have when they're calling, and this sounds super simple, but we're not executing on the basics the way we need to, is that we're focused on too many things. We're making calls and doing something else. We're making calls and we're on Facebook, and we're doing our emails, and we're doing a counter offer, right? Lead generation is your job. Your job is to generate and convert leads into appointments. Nothing else matters if you can't make those appointments. The number 2 problem people have is they stop a lot while they're making their calls. So the auto dialer solves a lot of these problems, and we're going to train you, like I said, for a full hour how to use the auto dialer at an incredibly high level. Everyone on my team uses auto dialers, and we have competitions to see who can make the most contacts, who can go the longest stretch. Right now, we have a contest to see who can get to 200 calls in a row without stopping, and we're gonna get everyone through that. We'll show you exactly how to do that. But when you're calling your A leads, you're probably not putting them in the auto dialer. You're probably manually dialing, and we want to see you get to 25 dials an hour on your A lead. By doing that, we're going to get much better results. Now, another way to look at this besides the systems approach is a purpose approach. So we're going to talk about how to get really focused on what our goal is, what our big why is, and how we're going to accomplish that. So we did a business planning as a team. All of you should be doing business planning through your market center this month. Probably it's October. These leads you're getting now are probably January, February closings at the earliest. We want to teach you that you're stealing from yourself if you're making fewer than 25 contacts per hour, right? If you're not, with your family, you should be at work making a lot of money, right? So I really believe that when you're doing real estate, you should be doing it at a very high level. There's a big financial reward for doing real estate, and I want to help you guys all get there. So as I mentioned, we want to take a little change in behavior and magnify it over an entire effect. I believe that you can make 5,000 calls a year more, or more than 5,000, but at least 5,000 more than you're doing now by using the systems that I'm going to teach you how to use, by being focused and purposeful in your calls. And on top of that, we're going to make those calls better by using better scripts for converting to appointments. So the math is just simple. You should be doing at least 10 hours a week of lead generation on the phone, and probably a lot of you should be doing more. If you're cold dialing, if you're circle dialing, if you're a junior agent or a buyer's agent on a team calling through a database, that's probably a low number, 10 hours. A lot of teams that I know are doing at least 15 hours on the phone, some 20 hours on the phone a week. I know that if you follow these systems, you can increase 10 more calls twice a day, 5 times a week, 50 weeks a year. That's 5,000 more calls. And here's the question. If I can show you a way to make 5,000 more calls, can you make more money from those calls? Now, another simple trick we use, and these are the simple ones, but these are the ones you can use right away to get started to show there's validity in what we're doing, is that we're calling with purpose. So one of the things we do is we get fired up in the morning. I hope that you guys can hear my energy. I've been thinking about this call all morning. I've been really excited to jump on this call because I love the ability to coach and train. So when you hear my energy, I think that you feel that. One of the number one things that we can change in you is using some simple tricks to increase your energy and your sound on the phone. So sounding really excited and purposeful on the phone is going to increase your conversion. There we go. We're not doing it, and here's a reason why. So I'm going to give you a simple sort of hack on how you can really simply create better goals for each call. The reason that people have what I term call reluctance is not that they're afraid of making calls or they're afraid of getting rejection or they're uncomfortable on the phone. I think the number one reason that we're not really making calls at the level we should is we're not connected to our goals. I know exactly how much money I need to make every month to hit my year-end goal and what I can do with my year-end goal. Right? I know that I want to convert my income in real estate into rental property and enough rental property that I can live comfortably just off that and that my children can go to college and be comfortable. And that's a great goal for a lot of you in real estate. It's an easy one because it's very actionable for all of us. And I'm so committed to that goal that I know what each call is worth to me. So here's a simple hack. I've decided that each call that I make is worth $100 to me. So I guarantee you, when I'm getting tired or if I've had a rough day or a lot of no's or rejection on the phone, I'm just thinking each dial that I make will be worth an extra $100 to me. And I believe that for a lot of you, if you're a newer agent, I think the number is somewhere more like between $20 and $40 a call. And the more experience you get and the better you get on the phone, those calls are worth $100. So if nothing else, write down and put on your computer screen or at your workstation that each call is worth X to me. I've had that in front of my workspace for years, at least 7 or 8 years, and the number's gone up over time. I know that when I make those dials that I'm going to get an extra money. So if I say, you know what, I'm having a rough day, I want to go home, let me make 5 more dials at $500 more. Now, obviously, the challenge in real estate is you're not getting paid immediately when you make those calls. There's a delay, but I know in my head whenever I need to push through, I just think of that number. Okay, so that's what we're doing through on the purpose side. I want to do some new scripting techniques. This is stuff you guys haven't seen before, and so I'm really excited about it. Let me just answer a couple questions. So, first question. So there's some printouts will be included every week. We'll give you printouts with all the notes, and there's also a private Facebook group that has all of the material that we use. And then a couple people asked about definitions. So. Yeah, we're saying anytime I say conversation, that's the same as contact, and any dial is just a dial. So we're just talking about just picking up the phone and dialing a number. So we're going to use both metrics. My goal in the class is to start you on number of outbound dials because that's the leading indicator. That if I can teach you to make a certain number of outbound dials a day, then the contacts will follow. Once you're consistently hitting those outbound dial numbers, then we're going to focus on contact. So my team goal, everyone on my team has to come in Monday morning and report that they've made a minimum of 100 voice-to-voice or person-to-person contacts every week, right? We're not as focused on dials because they're more experienced overall. Now, we have calling days, and on the calling days that we do, we're focused on dials to make sure we're reinforcing that outbound volume, right? Okay, if that wasn't clear, let me know. Let me jump into scripting because I want to stay on time. So we're going to do a lot of scripting here, and what I want you guys to understand about the scripting is I'm not going to give you a bunch of scripts to memorize. You can find an unlimited number of scripts for free online. Maps has them. KW Connect has them. They're all over the place for free, and they're fine, right? We're not going to worry about memorizing scripts. What I want to do is teach you what I call the mechanics of scripting. I want you to really critically think about why you're saying what you're saying, because by changing your word patterns, you can change your results dramatically, right? So the scripting that I teach to my team and to you guys on this call is going to be what I call tell, don't ask. And the way that works is instead of asking for an appointment, which I think is what we've been trained for a long time, we're trained, even in the training of it, we're saying ask for the appointment, ask for the sale. If you ask for the sale, you'll get the sale. I want to teach you to think one step past that. If you're asking someone for something, there's a chance they might say no. If you tell them something's going to happen, there's a much better chance it's actually going to happen. So here's the simple idea. If you're talking to a buyer, and this is sort of an abbreviated script because we're trying to pack all this into 30 minutes, on the abbreviated script, it's first speak to the lender and get pre-approved, and then I'll meet with you, and then we can tour homes, right? That's the new way to do it, and there's a lot of ways you can vary that and a lot of ways you can change that depending on the situation. But what I want you to see is in all the scripting, we're telling the buyer what's going to happen. I'm not saying, will you get pre-approved? Do you mind getting pre-approved? Are you pre-approved? I'm saying the first step is to get pre-approved. Then I'll meet with you, and then we can tour homes. There's no question in there, and there's no close. I'm just dictating to them what's going to happen, and then I can follow up with a close, such as, when's a good time that we can set a meeting, and then you'll have the pre-approval ready by, right? So the question is not, are you going to get pre-approved? And the question is not, will you get pre-approved before I meet with you? And, you know, and the meeting is the buyer meeting where we'll go for a signed buyer contract, and we'll talk about that. The question is going to be, when is all that going to happen for you, right? If you do it the old way is, you know, will you get pre-approved? Are you pre-approved? There's a lot of chances for them to say no, or a lot of chances for them to interrupt your line of questioning and change what they're doing. So by telling them what's going to happen, you're going to dramatically increase your conversion. Now, this will sound uncomfortable to a lot of you. I promise you, when you start getting used to saying to your buyers, this is how it's going to be, you're going to get dramatically different results, because they're not going to naturally question you. You know, we're not in our heads thinking about, you know, am I the professional here? We're thinking we're so lucky to have a buyer on the phone. The reality is they're lucky to have us on the phone. When they've called us or they've asked us to contact them, you know, they're looking for a professional to give them guidance. You know, imagine if you went to your doctor or your lawyer or your accountant and they said, well, do you think we should inspect this, or do you think you want to do your taxes this year? No, they said, this is what's going to happen and you're going to pay me for it. And we're going to think about ourselves the same exact way. There's a great quote from the movie Glengarry Glen Ross, which I recommend you watch, and because last time we had some people who hadn't seen it before. And the great quote is, they don't walk on the lot unless they want to buy, right? So we want to change our mentality towards buyers, and we want to change our thought process towards buyers and sellers, because by doing that, we're going to have dramatically different results. Okay, let's go to the next script. Okay, this is for sellers, and again, this is an abbreviated script. There's a lot bigger difference. There's many differences that you can implement into these when you're actually talking to sellers or buyers, but this will give you the basic backbone of what we're doing. So we're going to spend a lot of time breaking down how do we use these different scripts in different situations to get the desired result. So let me walk you through this one. So this is the seller script, and like I said, there's a lot of ways you can vary it. I'll just go with the basics for now. So seller calls in, I'm thinking about selling my home, blah, blah, blah. Great. The best thing for me to do is to come to your home and give you a personalized evaluation. Is Tuesday or Wednesday better? Now, a lot of you guys have seen the alternative choice close, is Tuesday or Wednesday better. It's a very basic close you should be using a lot of. What I want you to understand, a lot of you right now, when you talk to a seller, you're asking the seller permission to allow you to come to their house to value the home. And that's wrong, because that, first of all, that immediately gives you the underhand, the lower power position, and it gives them the upper hand, right? We want to go over in a position of power that we're giving them our audience. They're getting grace by us coming to their house to value the home for them. Right there, you're changing the entire power dynamic, and instead of you begging for business, they're really excited to have you over to the home. Now, what you notice in here, and this is exactly how we're going to go through scripting, is what you notice in here is that we're not asking them whether or not we can come to their home. We're telling them that's going to happen, right? And then the only question is, which day is better? So in their brain, the brain responds automatically to a lot of questions. And if you said, can I come to your house to value it? One of the answers is no. And the natural answer for most people is no, because they don't want a salesperson to come bother them, even though they really do. The reflexive answer is no. And we keep asking people for permission. We keep saying, can I come to your home? Do you mind if I come over? Do you want a buyer meeting? And this is the wrong way to do it. The right way to do it is say, we are going to have a meeting. The only question I'm asking you is, which day is better? So the natural answer, the reflexive answer their brain will give will just be to answer the question, which is Tuesday or Wednesday better. So the mechanics of scripting piece is that we're changing the time, we're changing the fundamental question that's being asked. And it's a very tiny change, and I guarantee you that most of you are not doing it this way. Most of us are asking permission from a client, which is the wrong way. And by doing it this way, we're going to have dramatically better results. Let's do one more. So just to clarify, we're going to have an entire hour of the class will be buyer scripting. You're going to be given PDF files with all the scripts in advance to go over. We'll do an entire hour of seller scripting as well. It's a lot of the same stuff. It's just looking at it with slightly different wording. And I know this question comes up. We do what I call reverse qualifying, and I'll walk you through that. That's a much longer process we don't have time for today. But the reverse qualifying is going to be that we want to set the appointment, and then after we set the appointment, then we qualify them, and we can back out of it if needed, right? Okay, so I'll give you one more quick example. This is exactly what we're going to be doing on the call as far as the scripting. And this is for showings. And I think you're kind of see a pattern after this, and then you can kind of apply this to many different scripting scenarios. And so buyer calls in and they want to see one of your listings, let's say, or a house that you had mentioned to them. And what we don't do is we don't convert them for more showings, right? We don't convert them for purposeful showings. So the answer is, so we'll take a look at that house that you called in about, and then afterwards I can show you a couple more homes. What time is best? And it's the same as the first two slides on this, that we're not asking them, which homes they want to see. Do they want to see other homes? We're asking them what time is best, right? So we're just telling them up front, we're going to do this thing, and they're going to like it, but we want to know what time they want to do it at. So the big differential is that when you tell people that you're going to have an appointment, it's much harder for them reflexively when they're answering to say no, to say, I don't want to meet. When you say what time is best, then they give you an answer. Or you can do the alternative choice. Is Tuesday or Wednesday better? So I hope that made sense. So all the scripts, like I mentioned, we provided before the classes in your PDF through the platform, through the MAPS platform. So you'll have time to review those. And then all the webinars are recorded. I know I talk quickly. The reason why is I want to give you as much value as I can for your time. So all the webinars are recorded, and you'll have a chance to review them afterwards through the Basecamp program from MAPS, which will give you time to review them at your own pace. I do think that in the time period you have, there's a lot of material, so it will take some time to put all this into your habit. So let me give you guys a more clear overview of what we're doing. We're definitely going to start by increasing your outbound call volume. So the first step, week 1, is a lot of work on increasing outbound call volume. Week 1 and 2 is going to talk about conversion, and conversion is a theme, obviously, that runs through the whole class, right? I think it's easy to find leads. We'll talk about how to find leads. It's very easy, I think, to find leads. The challenge is in converting them. So we're going to spend a lot of time for doing that. We're going to do a lot of habit building. I'm a big fan of the One Thing and the Power of Habit book, and we do a lot of work on building habits to make all these things automatic behaviors, right? I know that you don't want to consciously think every time about the scripts and how to do them, so we're going to teach you how to habituate all these behaviors. We're going to really focus on efficiency. I'm very big on efficiency. I want to get in and get out. I leave the office by 3:30 every day. I have to have all my work done. I want to show you guys exactly how to do that, right? How are we going to stop wasting time with poor lead conversion? How are we going to stop wasting leads with inadequate follow-up? So the second week call is going to be on systems, right? It's going to be, if you get a lead, how often do you call them? How do you contact them? What do you text message them? And what do you email them? And how often? And what do you say? And so we break that all down, and then there's a very lengthy document that goes with that gives you the exact process for that. All of the scripts, everything we do is a duplication of what I do here with my team in Los Angeles. And like I said, we've done 87 million year to date with another 21 pending. And so we should hit about 125 million this year. Okay, so as a bonus, if you guys sign up for this program in the next 2 hours, we're going to give you a PDF of our script card. That's a bonus for everyone. It's a two-sided PDF script card that you can print out and have at your desk for calling. Also, we're going to give out to the first 5 people, we'll give out a private coaching call with me for the first 5 people to sign up today. Let me get to a couple questions real quick before the call ends. So someone asked about the scripts. Those will all be provided through the Facebook group and through the Basecamp. All the scripts will be, there'll be specific scripts for sellers and buyers. Call 3 is all buyers. Call 4 is all sellers. And call 5 is all auto dialers. But we want to teach you how to use scripts across different things, right? So I don't want to teach you just how to use a script to talk to sellers. It's really a script to talk to people, and then you just customize it to sellers. And then Dante asked about reverse qualifying. We reverse qualify on the same call. So I'm going to make the appointment with you, and then we're going to, after we make the appointment with you, we're going to qualify you to make sure you're ready. And if not, we just reschedule the appointment for a later date, which you would be ready. So here's the information. If you're signing up for the call, it starts this Friday at 9 Pacific, 11 Central. It's 5 weekly 1-hour webinars. All the webinars are recorded, and you can play them back anytime. I actually do recommend that you play them back at least once because there's a lot of material. I really am committed to giving you as much material as possible in the hour that we have. On the calls, we take questions. I also take questions by email and through the Facebook group. And in 5 calls, 5 classes so far, over 1,000 people, I've answered every question that's come through. You can sign up today. It's only $149. It's a great value. I guarantee it's worth it. You can sign up through either of the 2 links there. what those two, they both go to the same place. So you can do either one. And like I said, we're going to start Friday with the call. I think that's all the questions. Oh, Carolyn had a question. So the program's 149. We're going to go over all the 5 things that I mentioned before. I'll recap it real quickly for you guys. It's systems of calling, it's purpose and getting your calling efficiency up, buyer scripting, seller scripting, and then a full hour on auto dialer training, which you're going to really enjoy. If you're not using auto dialers, it's going to change your business. My team had an enormous uptick in outbound call volume by hopping on the auto dialers, and it's a very efficient way to do this, and it really eliminates a lot of the challenges we see. And like I said, if you sign up today, we're going to give you a free double-sided PDF that gives you all of the scripts that we use that we keep by our desk here. And we're going to do the first 5 people to sign up. We'll get a free coaching call direct with me this week. So that's everything. I did 30 minutes and 25 minutes. I really appreciate everyone's time. It's Monday. On Mondays, I'll give you my schedule, but on Mondays, I get 4 hours of outbound calls done. And we're going to get everyone, show you how to do that. Couple questions popping in here. Yes, Tamara, we'll talk about database usage and how to use your database. The call's at noon Eastern time, and it's always on Friday. If you have another class on Friday, it is recorded, and we will take questions after hours as well also. Daniel asked about frequency. We do the class about 3 to 4 times a year. And it's not required to have an auto dialer. We do have the auto dialer training. I would recommend taking it because I think that you're going to have a lot of usage out of it eventually if you start with the auto dialer. You can sign up at marathonconversion.com, and we'll send out a link. We'll email out a link to everyone who signed up too. I think sometimes saying the link isn't working, so we'll check that. So yes, we use Mojo Auto Dialer. Get a lot of questions trying to get to all of them, guys. Appreciate your patience. We use Mojo Auto Dialer. I have no preference. They all sort of work the same. They all sort of have the same functionality. We're just looking to use them in a really efficient way. I think a couple people saying the link isn't working. So we'll get an email out to everyone within a few minutes with a full recording of this call as well as a proper link to the site. I'm not sure what's going on there. So I think that's all the questions. If you guys have questions, there's a Facebook group, Marathon, Lead Gen, and Conversion, and you can also reach me at schulmanrd@gmail.com. That's schulmanrd@gmail.com. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it. If you have questions, just reach out to me there, and we'll get an email out with the links right away. Talk to you soon.